Hey everyone, it's Gary. Hope you all are doing well. Let me go to the attendee list here and just double check a few things. First off, welcome aboard everybody. Okay. I'm going to use my webcam. Hopefully it won't take up too much of the computer's resources here. So, all right. So that's going there. Let me reduce that. Let me bring up here. Hang on one second. Good. All right. A couple of things for tonight, guys, for the webinar. Full disclosure, I was going to go over the letter tonight because it's come up a lot lately. Matter of fact, some of you on the call have been using the letter and you're getting results, and the question is, what do you do now? But what I decided to do is go back and we're going to go over the booklet. The reason is when you use the letter, like for any listing technique, and you do get callbacks, and you're wondering, what do I do now? Believe me, it's a whole lot easier when you've already got clients who are ready, willing, and able to buy. Okay. So that's why when it comes to the investor side of the business, when you're an agent, we always build up that database first. You get buyers and sellers. In fact, I can tell you a lot of times I use the booklet, I get listings out of it, okay? Because people would say, hey, if I'm not really interested in buying anything more, but I got your booklet, I was intrigued. And is this the kind of marketing you do? Because I like to have you sell my property. So in any case, I'm going to go over a few techniques with you tonight, go over the booklet, go over the checklist, and then next week we will do the letter. Okay, so I know some of you are probably wanting to throw darts at me right now because we don't want listings, and I get it, but it sure helps a lot when you've got people that can actually buy the listing. So next week will be actually Tuesday the 12th. We'll go over that schedule more later. But in any case, let me just double check and make sure everybody's okay so far on the technology end of things. So hang on one second. Let's see, can you see, whoops, my screen and hear my voice? Okay, if you could get back to me on that, guys. Floyd's actually already responded. Thanks, Genevieve, appreciate that. Adam, good to see you, buddy. So Adam Clinton, I just had a good call with him. I think that was yesterday or Saturday, and he had used a letter, and he's getting, it looks like potentially a pre-foreclosure. I'll talk more about that here in a minute. I just want to make sure we get the housekeeping out of the way. So whenever we do the webinar, guys, always make sure you get the recording the next day. They're all put out on the website, My Investor Services, but you also get the recording. And it's good to sometimes go over it again. You can split off the audio, just there's an app you can get, convert YouTube to MP3. That way you can listen to it on your phone or in your car or whatever. And then you can also start and stop it. You can get the audio visual recording, obviously, but you can start and stop that, take notes, fast forward, all that kind of stuff. So in any case, always look for that. She always gives you updates to the schedule. I think the upcoming schedule for March just came out. I'll be putting together the April schedule in about another week and a half. On the 14th, I think I do that. But in any case, also there's updates to the systems and platforms and so forth. And you can also communicate with each other via the community site. So real quick, one of the things that came up, I wanted to mention this, when it comes to the letter, we'll talk more about that more next week. You can, for those of you who decide to work with banks, and there's been a couple of you doing that, and you're getting some results, even though there's not a lot of foreclosures right now, they are out there, and it's easy to find them by using that bank tracker tool. But furthermore, what you can do is go to your tax assessor's database, look by owner, and if you do this with community banks, remember, often they own the properties themselves. They're not using an asset manager. With the small banks, big banks always use an asset manager. Small banks more likely to not. So you can type in, ABC Bank, and it gives you the properties they've already taken back through into foreclosure, right? They're taking them through foreclosure and REO status. Some states are trustee states, like California, where I am right now. Some states there's different processes. The end of the day, though, it becomes an REO property. REO is a bank term. What I'm getting at is for properties in pre-foreclosure, okay, you can contact those people ahead of time, get a property under contract for listing purposes, then that gives you the right to go talk to the bank and you're technically representing the owner of the property, and hopefully you can get a deal out of it before it goes into REO status. Okay. I prefer REO myself, but a lot of people like to do it through pre-REO. So in any case, I just want to bring it up because that came up in the last week, I think twice. So without further ado, let me check for questions here. And I'll get into the subject matter. So this is, hi Genevieve, I'll call you. Yeah, whenever you get a chance, Genevieve, that's okay. Just call when you get a chance. Thanks, Floyd, for your comment. Okay, let's see. Adam, can see you, hear you. Pam's good. Hey, Pam, good to see you too. Hey, Adam. Yep, good to see you. I was just mentioning you a few moments ago. So you sent the letter out to review last week. You also, I don't know if you know Clinton. I think he's from your same office. He's also using that, and I think is already getting some traction there too. So congratulations for taking action, you guys. Right. So in any case, let's go ahead and move into the subject matter. All right. So first things first, let's do this. Before I go into the booklet itself, I want to go into a couple of tools you can use to find out who to send the booklet to. So what I did is I took it upon myself to find, because a lot of you are in California right now. Of course, we've got people online from Florida and Canada and Pennsylvania. Every state, every province has its own, I call it loosely term it the Bureau of Incorporation. Okay, as part of that, okay, there is a database that houses all the licenses for every person that has to have a license for their industry. So dentists have a license to practice dentistry. Pilots have a license to fly planes. Teachers have a license to teach. All you realtors out there, I'm one too, we have a license to practice real estate. They're all out there. Okay, so Floyd, I can't remember the one for Florida, but I know I've used it before, and it's very easy to use. You can find out all the chiropractors, and you can see all of the individual offices they own too, which is pretty neat. So for those of you in California, here's yours right here. Search. This is dca.ca.gov. You always know you got the right website when it ends with gov. Okay. Because you know it's the actual website. You're not going through a third-party processor. So in any case, here's the one for California. Let's just play with this a little bit. Bureaus and boards. Check this out. If I just put my cursor over there and hit the enter key, look at everything that pops up. Board of Accountancy, acupuncture, automotive repair, barbering, cosmetology. Look at all this stuff. It goes, physicians, all the way down to vocational nurses, veterinarian, medical board, everything that you could possibly want to know. So let's just put up Board of Accountancy. Okay. We don't know a business name. We don't know a first name. We don't know a last name at this point. And we don't have to. These are not required fields. But let's click on licensure type or license type. And let's put in certified public accountant, CPA. Okay. So we're looking for CPAs in California. And we're going to hit search. Remember, we don't have to have license number. We don't have to have last name, first name, or business name. Just type in search. There is an advanced search, by the way, too. Okay. But here you go, guys. Roland Leon. Okay. Where is he? He is in Utah County, Alpine City. And there's his zip code. All right. Here's one close by for a lot of you guys because I just taught in Anaheim recently. Anaheim, California, Pete Gray, all right? And if you click on more detail, check this out, guys. Right over here to the right, click on more detail, okay? You get their actual address, okay? And this guy's license has been revoked, so we don't want to use him. But let's go back here real quick. Hang on one second. And let's just pick up this guy here, Gary Paul Abelson. Let's click on his. He's in Contra Costa County. Looks like he's pretty current based on what I saw on the first screen. And there you go. License number, his name, his address, right? Expiration date 2020. It says he's retired, but what the heck? I'd contact him or send him the book. In any case, what I'm getting at is if we just backtrack here, you can go into any board you want. So let's just go into, let's see, what's a board you guys want to look at? How about dentist? Let's go to the dentist board, and we're looking for a dentist license for a dentist in California. Okay. And there you go. Let's see, this is Orange County, Orange City. Let's click on this guy here. More detail, this is Adel Ayad Abdul Shahid. Okay. He's a dentist, current, active. There's his address. Now you got somebody to send your booklet to, okay? So you can also, dentist, obviously you can just go to Yellow Pages online and look for all the dentists there. What I want to do is show you what's possible. So if you're worried about how do I find these people, dentists advertise like we do, chiropractors advertise like we do, but what about teachers? What about pilots, for example? Well, chances are you can go out here and find them out here, right? Let's just see if we have, there's physicians, pharmacy, engineers. Boy, there's a good one. How about that? Let's look up engineers, and let's just look mechanical engineer. See who has their mechanical engineer's license in California. By the way, I particularly like engineers. There's lots of them. Okay. And they make great investors. Okay. So let's just find one. Here's a guy in Irvine. All right. Stephen Absher, excuse me. There's his address right there. So if you ever wonder how do you find these guys, here's the answer right here. So let me do a quick check on you guys and see if you got any questions. Okay, let me go back here. We've already got some coming in. Let's see here. Some people are saying you're not showing my screen. Okay, now can you see my screen? Hopefully you can see my screen now. I apologize because I turned on my camera. All right, there we go. So let me go back to the questions here. Hang on one second. I can see you can't see your screen. Now you can see my screen. Okay, apologize, I wasn't paying attention that you couldn't see my screen. Okay, good. Now you're okay. All right. So let me go back to what I was showing you. Here it is, dca.ca.gov, and I just pulled up the database for engineers. So this is the screen you get, search.dca.ca.gov. This is for the Californians. We'll do another state or province if you want, but I've already been in all the states and provinces. So I just clicked on boards and bureaus, I clicked on, let's see, where did I find the engineers? Dental, that's electronic. Oh, here it is, landscape architects, professional engineers, did that. Went into here and clicked on mechanical engineer, hit the search key, and voila, there you go. Now, I'm just going to repeat this so you make sure you got it. If you go to the right, click on more detail, that's where you get the individual's mailing address. Now you can send them the booklet. So I just want to show you a way to find these folks who don't advertise particularly, all right? They're out there. There's another option too, which is this, check this out. I found there's a association called the Association of Associations. Let me just go back here to the search. So did a Google search. The reason I searched it is, guess what? My oldest niece used to work for these guys. So great resource. You can find out all the associations for every field, every industry, I mean, everybody, there's associations for everything. People who collect coins, people who collect stamps, people who are electrical engineers, associations for teachers, associations for everything you could possibly think of. So you click on this, all right, American Society of Association Executives, and there's all kinds of resources in here, right? But here's another one. association directory of associations. How about that? Let's just click on California, and let's click on, well, there's a bunch of them. So let's go to one of the E's. I want to do engineering, but I want to see if there's specific, like electrical engineers, or engineers, excuse me. Associations for Engineers in California. There you go. California Society of Professional Engineers, all right? Last updated 2017, that's pretty old. State level, let's just click on it and see what happens. Okay, there's their information for these guys. They got about 40,000 members, founded in 1935. You can send them some information or send them an email, okay? And typically you'll be able to join these guys as a vendor, okay? So in any case, we can click on this if you guys want. Let's just see what happens. Site can't be reached. How about that? Okay. But in any case, what I'm getting at is maybe this association is no longer in existence. I don't know. But the point is, directory of associations gives you some vital information on who to send the booklets to. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to go into the checklist for using a booklet. Okay. So for those of you that don't have this, usually I get this out when we have strategy calls. I'm pretty sure Beverly sent this out before. It's a checklist for using a booklet. We'll have it go out tomorrow's email, the post-webinar email, okay? The booklet itself, I'll show you where to find that here in a moment. But let's just go through this step by step, okay? The reality is that before you do any marketing campaign, you should definitely determine your goals, okay? So my suggestion is this: if you're pretty new, guys, just send out 25 booklets initially at a time. That's all. Chances are you get some callbacks, okay? But I don't want you to send out hundreds and hundreds of booklets right now, because I want you to master the technique first. So learn small, and then you can grow big, okay? So first thing is determine your goals. You know, how many transactions would you like, or what type of clientele would you like to serve? Again, mechanical engineers is great. Electrical engineers, whatever it is, teachers, nurses, chiropractors, orthodontists, just determine what that goal is, how many you want, okay? Because then you'll have a goal to achieve. Very important. Put it in writing. I mean, I know I'm starting to get preachy here, but always put that in writing. So the second thing is, again, is determine your niche group. We just talked about that, all right? You also want to get a copy of the template, the booklet that's provided to you. So let's just go there real quick. I'll show you how to get that. Okay. Let me get rid of some of these things that are up here. I'm going to go to My Investor Services, all right, right here. So we do this quite frankly, so you should all be pretty familiar with this. Go to myinvestorservices.com, click on members area. So by default, almost all of us are silver level members. Some are higher, but most of us are silver. So let's click on silver level here, all right? And then log yourself in, okay? Because you have to be a current member to be on here. Then what you want to do is this: over here is all the resources, okay? So if you scroll down, you'll see something that says Marketing Techniques and Docs. So you click on that, okay? And in here, you'll see a mailer that we send to apartment owners. This is a more sophisticated letter we use, not the mom and pop letter I go over in class, but a little bit more advanced. Here's the investor booklet. So you click on that, literally just click on it, and all of a sudden you see over here it's being downloaded. So you click on the download, and lo and behold, there you got your own desktop version of the Word document for the booklet, okay? I think I've got a couple of these on going on at the same time here, so let me just get rid of one of them. Okay, so there's the booklet. We'll go into that in a minute. What I want to do now is get back to the checklist, okay? So when you build the booklet, you have to determine if you're going to appeal to people who want to flip homes or people who want to buy rentals, okay? because you're going to load the booklet with samples of properties, okay? And I want you to please write this down. Please be forewarned to not load your booklet up with only active listings. The reason is you won't get as high a response rate or conversion rates. So if you load it with samples of properties where some are active, some have been sold, so some sold listings, and some that are under contract, I promise you'll get higher response rates on that booklet because you're showing them, you've given them meaningful information. You're showing them that the market is active. There's not only places actively for sale, but they're being sold and they're under contract. But it also conveys the message to them that you're not just in it just to sell properties. Obviously, that's what we do for an investor agent, but we want to give them meaningful information to help them make decisions. So when to sold them what actually, or show them what actually sold. Okay. Now back to this. We'll just go over this for the next 5 minutes. Determining how you build, like what do you put in a booklet for flips? What do you put in a booklet for rentals? Well, the rentals is easy because you just simply go out and look for multi-unit properties from 2 to 4 units. Okay, you can put single family homes out there that are rentals too. They're just not as easy to find. Okay, one way to find them is there's an app you can get. I think we just mentioned this the other week. It's called Ticor, Ticor, and Ticor is a title company in Vegas, Las Vegas, and they bought the rights to an app, like a walking app, and then they call it Ticor for Agents, I think it is. So you download it on your phone, you go in there, let's say you type in a zip code, it brings up a map and it gives you indicators as far as which properties are rented and which properties are lived in by owners. So the green doors, it gives you the green tab or green pin, those are the owners, owner-occupied properties. And the red pins are the ones lived in by tenants, okay? So what you can do is, if they're in a neighborhood, like you typed in an area that's known to be a pretty predominantly owner-occupied or single-family homes, well, now you know which single-family homes are owned by the rentals. And if you click on the pin, it actually gives you the owner's contact information too, not just the property address, but the owner's address too. So now you can find single-family homes that are rentals. Okay, pretty neat process there. But let's say you're looking for rentals that are in the 2 to 4 unit range. You would obviously go to your MLS and go back as far as you need to find those samples. It's the easiest tool to use. All right, now let's go talk about if you're going to build the booklet for flippers, to appeal to flippers. Like teachers, for example, generally lean more towards flipping. They'll do rentals too, but flipping for them just seems to be a bigger draw. Well, how do you find examples of flipping? Well, here's how you do it. Okay, number one is you want to go through in your database. You can use the MLS again and look for properties that have sold in the last year more than once. They sold twice in the last year, for example. And on the first sale, if the price on the first sale is a good bit lower than the price on the second sale, well, chances are that was a flip, okay? So what I would do is I'd narrow my list down by that. I don't want to put them all in the booklet because there'll be too many, lots of flipping going on around here, right? What I would do is I'd look for the ones where the realtor who sold the listing on the second sale, the realtor that did the listing on the second sale, if they were also the realtor on the purchase side of the original purchase, in other words, a flipper buys it, this agent represented that flipper as the buyer's agent, then later on the flipper puts it back on the market and that same agent gets that listing, I know that agent works with investors and they probably do what I do. And I know what I do is when I work with flippers is I always give myself first right of refusal on the listing side of the flip. If I'm going to work with that realtor or that investor, excuse me, I want to make sure I get the second commission. Probably I'll get 3 or 4 actually, because if I'm having a good day, I'll get the buyer that buys the property after it's been flipped back onto the market. And if I'm really having a good day, that buyer will have to sell something first before they buy this flip. So I'll get the purchase, the sales, the buyer side commission for the flipper when he or she bought it, the listing side when they sold it, and potentially the buyer side for the person who's going to be the end user. And if that end user has to sell something else first, I get that listing too. Potentially 4 listings from this. But in any case, what I do is I look for listings where the same agent was the same as the agent on the original purchase when the flipper bought it. and the listing agent when the flipper sold it. And I know I've got an agent who is in the game like I am. What I'll do is I'll call that agent and ask them and say, look, I'm looking for a flip for one of my clients. I saw this out there. It looks like your client did a great job with this flip. Looks like they made a good bit of profit. Can you tell me what they did for that flip? And the agent will tell you, hey, you should have seen the chandeliers. They replaced the carpet, the kitchen counter, whatever the case is. Now you've got your story. So you put these MLS printouts in your booklet and you put in some extra verbiage saying this is what the flipper did to this property. Really important information when you're building a booklet for flippers, guys. So I hope you all grasp that, okay? Because you're not just making this try to be all things to all people type of a marketing campaign. You want to highly target who's going to get this booklet, and you want to be very particular about what information you put in the booklet, okay? You want to actually speak to the consumer that's going to receive it using language patterns and examples that you know already they want to see or see and hear, okay? Okay, so in any case, that's that, number 4. For number 5, well, number 4, number 5, number 6, I just described that to you, steps 4, 5, and 6. Now, when it comes to the introductory letter in the booklet, okay, let's just go there real quick and look at the introductory letter. Or let's scroll down. Now, there's lots of other versions of this booklet out there, guys. Mine's not the only one. We've collected a number of them over the years from different students I've taught. And I think we got several of them saved in different databases with different catalog by subject type. So they're out there for you guys to use, okay? So back to this. Here's the letter. So the consumer who receives this booklet, all right? First thing they see is that they open up, they get a full-size legal envelope. This is not something you fold up and put into a letter-size envelope. Full-size legal, 8.5 by 11, right? It's usually going to be more like 9 by 11.5. But always handwrite the recipient's name and address on the booklet. Remember, we're only sending out 25 at a time. So handwrite their name and address in blue ink on a big manila envelope, okay? First thing they see is where the smart money is, investing right here and, wherever you are, Downey, California, Rancho Cucamonga, wherever you are, okay? You're going to scroll down, see your broker's name information. That's my old brokerage before I merged it with KW. Then you get to the letter, right? So in the letter, if you look in here, I never once said anything at all about my designations. I didn't say I'm ABR, I'm CRS, I'm number 1. I didn't say any of that kind of stuff. What I did is I conveyed a message that, we have investors who are looking for properties, and we have properties for these investors. So this booklet, let's say we're appealing to dentists. We want to make sure you understand that we have properties for them. We can find them, and also we have agents trained to work with them. And by the way, maybe they want to retire and sell theirs. Well, they might call you because they got this booklet in the mail. So remember, the booklet is designed to drum up new clientele, buyers and sellers. It looks like it's geared towards buyers, but you do get both. So let's just assume that. Let's just assume you're going to get some buyers out of this. Don't be surprised if every so often somebody calls you back and says, I received your booklet. I got 2 or 3 of them over the last 2 to 3 months. I really don't want to sell anything. I'm not interested in buying anything new, but I'm 80 years old. I might want to sell some older properties, okay? And I like the way you do your marketing. Is this the kind of marketing you do for your investor clients? Of course, the answer is yes. You'll get this question probably an average of a couple times a year, right? So in any case, this letter actually is quite long. What I suggest is you shorten this up, shrink it up, and make sure you're speaking about yourself, not about me. If you never did any investment property before, don't worry about it. Still do the booklet, but you can put in here, you've been professionally trained, you're a certified investor agent, whatever the case is. Okay, and by the way, if you're an investor and you're on this webinar, we also use this tool to drum up funding to raise money to buy bigger properties, okay? So you can use this booklet to send to surgeons in your area. Surgeons are typically going to be quite busy. They might have more capital, more disposable income, but they don't have time to be going looking at properties and stuff. Well, you can partner with them. You can make them an equity partner or basically let them be a lender for you. Okay. What I'm getting at is you can use this booklet for those purposes also. Okay. So in any case, that's I don't want to read this intro letter verbatim because you've already got it in your material. You can obviously do that. That's my old phone number, by the way. The old desk line. We still use it, I think, for the training company. But in any case, finish it up with your contact information, obviously. Table of contents. Um, that's self-explanatory. This alternative for real estate through Dave for Bradley Capital. You don't want to put that in there because that was a special circumstance with this version of the booklet. We were appealing to Wall Street types, okay, commodity brokers and things like that. That's this particular version of this booklet was designed to work with those folks. So we put that in there to show that they could buy a portfolio of properties just like they would buy stocks in a company. Okay, so I just want to explain that to you. A lot of you created the booklet and put that in there, but it was very specific to a specific use. So in the case, table of contents. That's all it is. Okay. Next thing is you want to give them a story. Okay, this is one of my favorite sections. All right. We always start off anytime you have a blog or a podcast or an article. It's always good if you start off with a question. The heading, the headline, the subject should be a question. Hey, I'm done with the stock market. Should I buy a duplex instead? Great idea. Let's find out. So then the article gives them reasons why they might want to consider that. Now, if you're going to use this letter, you have my permission to use this article, if you want to call it that. Just change out the name. All right, you can make it from yourself. We give you the right to do that, the legal right to do that. Change out the picture. Make sure you change the picture and the name. You can leave me in there if you want, and I'll send you some referrals. Okay. In any case, in here again, I'm not going to read this verbatim because you all have access to this and you can read it yourselves. But what I do is I very quickly, I don't spend a lot of time giving them a bunch of rhetoric. I just get right into it. Okay. So the first thing I do is just a brief sentence or two and ask their permission to give them an example. Look, it says right there, may I answer you by giving you a real world example? And of course, the answer is typically yes. Okay. So what I do is I give them some basic terminology up front. What is NOI? What's debt service? What's cap rate? That type of stuff. And then I dig right into an example. I mean, I give them what's called a pro forma. Pro forma, if you haven't bought or sold an investment property before, is really a projection of the performance of the property based on historical facts or based on market data. Okay, so briefly describe the property, give them the rents per unit, expenses per unit. At the end of the day, I give them the cash on cash return and the cap rate. Okay, so that's my example. That's an example of when I bought one. Okay, then I give them an example of when I sold it. I don't know how many years later, 10 years later, something like that. Okay, again, the income, the expenses, and the breakdown of the financials down here. So I'm assuming in this example, $15,000 down payment, purchase price $72,000. Excuse me, which means we're going to finance $57,000 in 20 years for 5%. So again, the debt service on a monthly basis. So this is 20 times 12 is going to be 240 payments of $376.17. Okay, cash on cash return. If you subtract the debt service from the monthly net operating income, then you get your cash on cash return, which is $200 a month in this example, $2,400 for the year. Now, a couple things here. You notice the cash on cash return is higher than the cap rate. I don't want to get into all that on this particular webinar. We'll do that on another one if you want, but you can also study it in your material. The main difference is this. Cap rate is a result of you dividing your total purchase price by your net operating income. Okay, that's what cap rate is. Cash on cash return is you're dividing the money actual money you put into it, down payment, capital improvements, whatever, your basic out of pocket costs divided by the net operating income. Okay, and that gives you. I'm sorry. By the way, you take your what that gives you is cash on cash return. So, and you do take into account, by the way, on cash return, your monthly debt service. See, cap rate does not account for debt service. Cash on cash return does. Okay, different subject for different. I just want to give you the basic difference here. All right, then I give them the written, basically the verbiage describing the deal. I say, let's just take this from start to finish. And when I bought it, when I sold it, the whole 9 yards. And you can see in here, I give them the actual description. What I put 5,000 down, made about $3,000 a year positive cash flow, took the IRS deduction, depreciation, paid the mortgage down. It was owner financing, by the way, 37 grand when I bought it at 8% over 30 years. Okay, so I paid down by 5 grand. The end of the day is I bought a building, I put 5,000 into it, sold it for 72. All right, remember the rest of it I borrowed. So I had to pay back the old owner 32,000, I think, something like that. In any case, the bottom line is difference to 30,000 plus if you add up the depreciation and you add up the cash I pulled out of it, basically the net operating income, I made 70 grand. I walked away over the 11 years I owned it. I put 70 grand in my pocket through cash flow and through an eventual sale. Okay, not a bad day's work. So in any case, give these folks an example of a property. If you can use my example again, if you want to, it's probably be good if you had one from your own area. Because who was I was talking with earlier? Kathleen from where was she? Santa Monica Market Center. She say, well, things are different in LA, and they definitely are. The market's different wherever you go, but the fundamentals never change. The point is, you want to. She was concerned because some of the examples were from other areas, and I said, well, those are just examples. You want to provide examples from your own area, which is what I recommend. You can use my example, but it's probably better if you use ones from your area. Okay, all right. So that's the called the story part 3. Part 4 is we want to provide examples. Okay. Samples of properties, right? Just give them, this is probably way too many. I would probably give them 6 examples in here. I think I gave them like 12 or something, way too much. Just put in here about 6 examples. That's what I recommend. Okay, so those are all the examples of properties, and I would try to give them as much data as I possibly could on those properties, right? And I'd look for listings where the agent would put information on it, because I can always tell an agent that doesn't know what they're doing with their work with investors because they leave all this information blank. It's like they don't even bother putting it out there. And then they get all these calls from people that tire kickers. They say, we just want the data. I put the data in my listings. That way the people that call me are typically qualified. They already seen some of the numbers, and I know that they have a genuine, sincere interest in the property. Anyway, so that's part 4, samples of properties. Okay. Part 5 is I always give them a sample of some type of a tool, like in this case, a spreadsheet. So let me just get this more in full view. Okay, this is, of course, now turned to the side. So I call these the columns. To you, it looks like they're rows, but they're columns. Rockledge of property, Brighton Roads of property, Hyde Streets of property, or Hyla, excuse me. So the columns are the properties, and the rows are the income and expenses. You can see here, rents on the units, 1, 2, 3, 4. Rents on the garages, 1, 2, 3, 4. Gross potential income coming in, effective gross income. You want to calculate a vacancy rate, all right? And then you add it up on an annual basis. And then you have your yearly expenses. You want to do this on a year's time frame. So property management, taxes, insurance, maintenance and repairs, utilities, et cetera, et cetera. The bottom is your net operating income on an annual basis, right? So you can see these properties are actually doing pretty good. This was a portfolio, I think, that we sold, all right? So in any case, you give them a tool, number 5, part 5 is you give them a tool at the end so they can see, well, how do I determine if this is a good deal or not a good deal? Well, you put it up side by side against other properties. Great way to do that, okay? In any case, so at the very end, number 6 is provide testimonials, all right? If you're just starting off, just get what we call character testimonials. So, okay, an experienced testimonial is a client actually bought or sold the property with you, and they describe that transaction. A character testimonial is You go to your dentist or your minister or your mom if you want to. Just be clear who you're going to. And you can even show them an example of the booklet and say, I want you to look at this and give me your thoughts, because I'm potentially going to be working with other ministers in the area or dentists or chiropractors, whatever the case is, and I want you to give me your feedback on the booklet. But what they generally do is they'll actually give you what's more likely to be called a character testimonial. They're going to say, you know what, I've known Kathleen for years. She's been a client of mine. I'm a dentist. Great person, hard worker. Now she's got this awesome tool, and she's specializing with a dentist. Now you put that in your booklet as a testimonial. You're going to, and you send it out to the other 25 dentists in the area. I promise you're going to get phone calls because they all know each other. As soon as they see Dr. So-and-so's name out there giving you a bona fide character testimonial, that's a great way to ramp up your response rates. All right, so I'm going to go back to the checklist. But before I do, let me go to the questions here. So hang on one second, guys. I know I just gave you a handful there. So let's see. I don't see any new questions yet. I think we're caught up from before. Let's see. Hey, Maxine, how you doing, by the way? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. So in any case, looks like we're current on questions. If you have questions, guys, please plug them in and let me know. But right now, let's go back to the booklet. Okay? So we talked about the article. We talked about putting in your own testimonials. So let me reduce my panel, go back over here and scroll down here. Okay, now, there's another tool I forgot to give you guys, I'm sorry. It's called the Big Book of Lists, okay? You can go to the website called Biz Journals. Let's go to Biz Journals, okay? Let's see, here we go. BIZ Journals, all right? There's one for Los Angeles. So most of the metro areas have their own version of what we call the business journal, right? And in here, check this out. You can actually buy their list. And it gives you, by the way, excuse me, all of the top 25 performers in every category of business. Electrical engineers, architects, builders, accountants, doctors, the whole 9 yards, okay? Any case, in here, let me just go down here and see this real quick. Let me see if I can find out where you actually do this. Might be going too far. Usually it's down here on the right. Job, traffic, tourism, comment, okay. Advertising, the Big Book of Lists. All right. Oh, store. Well, let's go up to the top first. Right. Okay. Jobs, store, subscriptions, reprints, and more. How to grow your business. Okay. So let's go here. By the way, you can subscribe to this, and you'll get. Here we go. Book of Lists. There we go. 60 U.S. markets. You can view them. You can buy them. We used to buy them. They're actually very affordable. I think it was like $60 for a year. If you get it, you get it every year, basically. You can get it. Let's see, unlimited, digital, download your own version. Select your city. I'm just going to walk you through this, guys. Hang on one second. Where we say we're going to do LA. Let's go to LA. Oops, excuse me. Oops, sorry. Whoops, I don't see it here. It's not, where's L? And it's funny, we're in the LA site. It's not even showing it. Let's just pick one. Let's pick Louisville. Louisville, excuse me. It's got to say it correctly. If you ever go to Louisville, make sure you say Louisville, not Louisville. All right. So there's Big Book of Lists. Let's see how we actually get it. There you go. $80 for the digital version. You can get the hard copy. I would just go get the digital version because then you can search everything. I'm not going to buy it, but I can tell you for years that's what we did. and we would send the booklet out to not every single category, but it's a thick book. I'm talking there's probably usually more than 100 categories times 25. That's 2,500 contacts. You get their physical address, email address, and phone number. Okay, and more importantly, you get their business address. So just remember this: you're always better off sending this booklet to the business address. Right. All right, let's go back to the checklist. Okay. So you send out 25 booklets at a time, repeat it 12 times because every direct mail marketing campaign is a repeat process. Okay. And once you're comfortable with the technique, and by the way, when you're using the booklet, when people respond to you, they're now a prospect, and you don't have to keep mailing the booklets, right? You can reduce your list from that. And when you feel like you've pretty much you're leveled off as far as your how many people are going to get in that particular field, like orthodontist, for example, you can then do other related fields, like you can do dentist, family dentist, orthodontist, maxillofacial, um, surgeons who do a lot of work with restructuring people's mouths, all different kind of related categories. And I mentioned that for a reason. When you create the booklet, you're going to have in there what we call certain language patterns, okay? And if you build another group eventually, and you branch off and serve different groups of people, try to pick a general category that has many subcategories. Like engineers, for example, 452 types of engineers. That's a lot of booklets you can send out. How many physicians are there in the world? Bunches of them. Okay. So in any case, you can expand once you get some traction going. Another thing you can do to ramp up your response rate and conversion rates is this. Let's say you're in an area looking at properties with another investor, and you know that one of the chiropractors you've been sending the booklet to is in the area, and it's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Go drive around the block, swing by that chiropractor's office, and go in and introduce yourself and say, "Hi, I'm Gary Wilson. I'm a realtor. I've been sending you the booklet the last couple months. What do you think?" Now, most times you get some type of a neutral response, like because you're catching them off guard. It's not necessarily a cold call or a door knock because they've already received something from you. But basically, when you ask that question, it's kind of a stumper. Just say, "Look, no worries. How about if I create a search just for you just for properties that you want in your area, just for you, no obligation." And typically, you'll get either a yes or no. You hopefully get a yes more than no. With that point, then you can say, "Great, I already have your address. I need a number I can reach you on today when you're done with your practice, because I need to ask you a couple of basic questions to help me know where to refine my search." Okay, and at that point, you got yourself a bona fide appointment. Okay, what I'm getting at is you can use foot traffic technique, basically visiting people in person, coupled with your booklet technique to ramp up your response rates and conversion rates. Okay. Now, when they do respond to you, this is really important. You want to interview them every single time. Okay. Every new client, you want to interview, every new prospect, excuse me, you want to interview them before they become a client. Now, I don't know if it was last week or the week before. We went over, maybe it was 3 weeks ago, the process you go through when you interview a new prospect. Okay, it's in your material. You definitely want to review it. It's going to save you a ton of time. It'll ensure that you're only working with the best of the best clients. But that's what number 15 is about. Okay, definitely qualify them. Make sure they go out and speak to a lender to see what they're qualified for. Another thing I do is always ask them for a recap of our conversation. Okay, in their words, that shows commitment, shows engagement, shows that they're willing to take action. Okay, and the only ones that follow through with that, they're the ones I work with. So I just had a great call today with who was it? Bob Rowe from Mission Viejo, veteran agent. Same thing. He says, you know what? He only works with people who go through his screening process because he knows he's going to get 2 to 3 commissions for every client, minimum. Okay, probably more than that. So in any case, when they follow through, you work with them. Now you got yourself some clients. Go out there and do your job, serve them well, and get yourself some commissions. So now, let me go back to the panel again and see how we're doing on questions, and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is from Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how you doing, buddy? Hopefully you didn't get too much bad weather up there in Michigan. I'll be flying in overnight Thursday night and driving over to London on a Friday morning. Looks like the weather's going to be okay then. Okay, so Jeff is asking, would you do all dentists in an office the same day to create an environment for them to talk possibly, or all doctors in larger offices? Um, Actually, Jeff, I will tell you a good question. I generally focused on smaller, more independent operators when I was doing this, started off years ago. However, over time, I found out some of those same practitioners were launching his or her next office. Sometimes they had 3 or 4 or 5 offices. Some of the bureau, some of the state bureaus of licensure will give you the addresses for all of their, if they have multiple offices, which was kind of neat. So I would send a booklet to each office. Now, what I would do this, let's say they're in a big office building and they've got an entire floor and they got 12 dentists. I really wouldn't send it to all 12 dentists. I would send it to the principal, the person in charge of the big kahuna, right? Address it to them personally. And you can say, by the way, on the envelope, for Dr. So-and-so's eyes only. Now, I know I've had students send it to all the dentists in the practice, but I would tell you, if you think about that mindset, it may look like they're thinking, well, everybody's got this. Why is it special? Why, looks like a marketing sales campaign or something. But if you send it just to the one person, the big kahuna, and you get them, you'll get all the other fish. Okay, it's just my personal opinion. You can try both ways. But in fact, Jeff, you can do what's called split testing. Send the booklet out to some of the smaller independent operators, and then send the same booklet to other larger practices and measure your results. Okay, excellent question, by the way. Thank you very much. Okay, this is next one from Maxine. Hey, Maxine. Hello. Will you be? We'll be in touch. Hope you come close to my area in the near future. I'm Maxine. I agree. I want to get back down there. I'm just not sure. I think it'll be sometime between September and December. If not, what I'll do, it'll be like next probably April timeframe. But I'm due because I've been out there for a while. I think it was. I can't remember exactly. It's been quite a while. I think it was 2017. So thanks for the invite. I'd love to get back out there. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Okay, guys, looks like that's all the questions. I appreciate you being on board for this one. One of our most popular topics. Just remember, download the booklet, guys. Use the checklist. Use the tools you have available to you to determine who do you want to send it to, and get on a call with me. Set up a strategy call by using the time trade link, and let's get you guys in the game. Okay. So great session. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. God bless you and your families, and we will see you next time. That's next Tuesday night. Tuesday the 12th, same time, same place. Don't forget, guys, if you haven't registered for the Anaheim event and you want to go, last time I checked, there were well over 60 registrants already, and they cap it off at 100. Great time of year to come out there. Bring your spouse, bring your children if you want, because we're right outside the gates of Disneyland, in a hotel Marriott, brand just remodeled. So in any case, I look forward to seeing you guys there. Look for the emails from Beverly, and you can register that way. So, okay, guys, hope you have a great evening, and we will see you next week. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.